only right here on Fox 25. For years, he served in the military, traveling to war zones and risking his life every step of the way. His name was Max, and he wasn't a human, but a dog, trained to sniff out danger and lead the way for the men and women he worked with in the armed forces. Well, sadly, Max passed away, but today he was laid to rest with military honors. And Fox 25's Jessica Reyes joins us now to explain. And Jess, I know there's quite a long history behind this story.
Yeah, there sure is, Heather. Max was adopted after he served 4 years with the Air Force, and he lived the second half of his life with a woman in New Hampshire. Well, after he passed away, the only thing she wanted was to have him buried with honors. And after 2 years of searching, she finally got to see that happen today. A very special member of the Air Force laid to rest in Methuen. Not an airman, but a German shepherd who served the country in a way only he could.
I like to think that Max protected somebody's son, daughter, mother, father, brother, sister.
We proudly say farewell to this hero.
Max the war dog was buried at the MSPCA Hillside Acre Cemetery Saturday, in a special cemetery with a headstone honoring his service.
It was hard. It was hard for me to keep it together.
Max did 4 years of active duty with the Air Force before he was retired in 2007. He was moved to Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, which is where Pam Pelton found Max and adopted him.
When they gave me Max's military medical file, it said that he had been retired because he had failed his recertification exam. And in his file was a notation that said, in quotes, "Dog retired, became too nice."
Max was trained as a sniffing dog. Pam says where he worked is still a mystery to her, but given the time of his service, it's likely he was in either Iraq or Afghanistan.
I asked a lot of questions, and to most of those questions, I got a very crisp that's classified.
He lived out the last years of his life as Pam's best friend in Northfield, New Hampshire.
And we had a good routine, loved to walk. We walked 2 or 3 times a day. He was a sweet dog. Anyone could come up and pet him. Little kids would come and love on him and hug him, and he'd just sit right there.
After 5 years with Max, Pelton got the heartbreaking news he had a terminal disease and wouldn't live much longer.
And I'd asked my veterinarian, well, couldn't I keep him for a few months and bring him in for treatment? And she shook her head and she said, Pam, at the most he's got 3 months, and the end will be painful. And I thought, I don't want him to go through that.
Max passed away on Memorial Day 2012, one of the toughest days of Pam's life.
I was holding him in my arms, and he put his paw on my arm and licked my hand right before he went to sleep.
Pelton had Max cremated and searched for 2 years to find a place to bury him, but says no military cemeteries would take him.
Wouldn't give me a reason, but they all refused. Or I'd get a response like, well, why don't you put him in a pet cemetery? I said, because he wasn't a pet. He was a soldier.
But in April, she got in touch with the MSPCA's Hillside Acre Animal Cemetery. The MSPCA recently dedicated a spot specifically for war dogs, and Max is the first one to be buried there.
So she came down, we gave her a tour, showed her the area behind us, and she just fell in love with the place.
Now Pam can come visit Max anytime she wants, where he finally rests with the recognition she waited so long for.
This today is just phenomenal. I can't even begin to tell you. It's beyond what I expected. I'm just so thrilled that he could be buried with honors.
And Pam says when she first got in touch with the MSPCA a few months ago, they asked her if she would be interested in adopting a dog. She told them she'd consider it, but only if it was the right fit. Well, they called her about a dog they thought she would like earlier this week, and it turns out his name also just so happens to be Max. They ended up hitting it off, and tonight, Pam is taking her new dog back home to New Hampshire with her. I'm Jessica Reyes, Fox 25 News.